Everything is spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
It is spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
It is spot on.
Everything is spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
It is spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
It is spot on.
Everything is spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
It is spot on.
Next to me, that's Mia. Mia, what's going on? How we feeling? It's the draft once again. Do we love what's happening? What's your vibes like?
I don't know, I look for us to have a lot of exciting picks coming in. Could be a lot of good trades coming in within this draft. I don't know. I think we have a lot in store. We finally got somewhat of a full season compared to what we had, dealing with the pandemic and things like that. So should be a pretty exciting draft coming up.
Well, looking at this draft, especially all the names, and we've heard Aidan, we've heard, possibilities of Jameson Williams still possibly in the first round pick. And we'll get into all that right now. And right now, guys, our broadcasters are standing by. They're going to be ready to give their picks fairly soon. We'll have JR come up with the number one pick in the B, which is the consensus pick, Mia. We pretty much have a good idea who's that going to be. But when I look at this draft, and I guess my question for you is, why not so many of the big names this time around versus past drafts where we could look and be like, oh, there's a CeeDee Lamb, and past draft, here's the Deshaun Watson, or here's the this big name Ezekiel Elliott guy, just anybody in general that we came to know in the past. And we look at this draft and it doesn't have a lot of that. What's the difference this time, and why not so many power players as we're used to in years past?
Well, I do think the pandemic has something to do with that a little bit, but it seems like a lot of teams are full at those big time positions like quarterback, running back, especially wide receiver. A lot of big names got taken last year and in the years before that. So it's interesting how this year, not so many big names in those really skilled positions, so to say. But a lot of, your offensive linemen, your defensive edges and things like that are the names that you're kind of looking out for. But nobody just too dominant to say, hey, this is who's taking over this draft so far.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, we'll go ahead and get right into the mix, everybody. With the number one pick in the 2022 NFL draft. JR is standing by on behalf of the Jacksonville Jaguars. JR, take it away. Who did the Jaguars select at number one?
Yes, with the number one pick, everyone knows this is a no-brain buster. Everyone knows this pick. With the Jacksonville Jaguars, they will pick Aidan Hutchinson from Michigan, the edge rusher. Yes, the edge rusher from Michigan, Aidan Hutchinson.
Love it, love it, love it, love it. Aidan Hutchinson is the first guy taken off the board. Mia is, again, the consensus pick. We knew this would happen. What value does Aidan Hutchinson bring to the Jacksonville Jaguars?
I think he brings a lot of value to that team. They did really good, with picking who their quarterback was last season. Now it's time to build those key pieces around him. Continue to build up your offense, but they definitely can use the help on the defensive line. And so I think this will be a great pick for Jacksonville. They just have to figure out a way to make all these different pieces work together. And of course, they had to overcome that coaching situation. But should they be able to do that, I think Jacksonville, would fare out pretty good with this pick.
Well, before we bring JR back, he's going to have a back-to-back for the number two pick with the Detroit Lions. When I think of Aidan Hutchinson and what he can bring to that defense, obviously you got a guy that can play up or play down, be it if he needs to. But with the Jacksonville Jaguars and where they're coming from and the whole debacle that happened with Urban Meyer, they get an opportunity to kind of start things over, kind of a different regime now with Doug Peterson as the head coach. I like him. I like what he can bring to a team. He has a culture about him that's, hey, I know how to win during his time in Philadelphia. For the Jags, though the consensus pick is defense, I wouldn't even mind, right? If for some reason between now and next week or close to the draft, we start hearing talks about, and it's not going to happen, but we start hearing talks about, Evan Neal possibly been chose at that pick because, the Jaguars can afford to go offense. They can afford to do whatever they need to do to continue to help my boy Sunshine. Lions time, right? Detroit, the state of this team is up in the air. When we look at them, we look what they did last year. They were a team that fought hard, but, how many moral victories can we give with a losing record? How do you feel about the Lions in this draft?
I think the Lions have a lot of key pieces to focus on. Obviously, they might go quarterback here, because coming into last season, I didn't think that Goff was the quarterback to take that team to the next level. And we saw what he was able to do with the Rams, and it still wasn't enough to get that team over the hump. So looking at him in Detroit, I don't think he's necessarily the fit for them. I think the Lions could possibly go quarterback here, but they have so many other key pieces that they can, fill the void with. I don't know. But again, so much to work with there, and hopefully they make the right decision. It seems like they have a good coach over there with Campbell. And so you just try to figure out how he can make these different pieces work for them.
Well, the beauty of all of this is that we don't have to think hard as far as who the Lions need to get. JR is coming back with the number 2 pick in the draft. JR, my boy, who do the Detroit Lions select?
I love everything what Mia said. I love everything what you just said. But Campbell needs dogs. He wants dogs. He's going with the number 2 pick with Kayvon Thibodeau from Oregon. Yes, I said it. He wants dogs, and Kayvon Thibodeau is a dog. He loves it. With the number 2 pick, with the Detroit Lions. Yes, I said it.
Number 2 pick with the Detroit Lions. JR have you fired up for that one, man. I love it, JR. Kayvon Thibodeau, we know what he can do coming out of Oregon. Mia, how do you feel about the Lions selecting defensive end?
Definitely. Again, they had so many pieces that they could, they can go any which way with this pick. And so that's definitely a top pick, a top name in this draft. Somebody who can come in and really make a difference on that defense. And so I'm not mad at that pick, JR. I think you might be on to something with that pick.
JR might know what he's talking about a little bit. It's the first and second are kind of consistent, but right. I like the Kayvon Thibodeau to the Detroit Lions. Let's take it a step further and go with a team that may honestly be worse off than the first 2 teams that picked in the Houston Texans. I can give you 22. No, I'm playing. I ain't gonna do that. I give you a bevy of reasons as to what the Houston Texans probably need to do. Wayne is about to give us that pick right now, but let's talk about it for a second, Mia. Quarterback for one. Deshaun Watson is now gone. There's Malik Willis, Sam Howell. Will somebody reach and possibly get Kenny Pickett? There's receiver. They kind of starve for that as well. They could still go defense. There's Jordan Davis. There's a bevy of guys. Do you want a cornerback? There's Stingley. There's Sauce Gardner. Out of the 5 million and one possibilities in the multiverse that the Texans can go, what do you have? Where are you clear-cutting saying they might go get this position?
They might just need to go quarterback first. I think that's, kind of the focal point of any team is what can your quarterback do? And so when you're in a position like this, you might want to go ahead and get somebody who can lock up that position and figure out how you need to build around that. So again, like you said, I could see somebody like Sam Howell going to the Texans. But yeah, figure out what you can do to get the best player at this point in the draft and then build around that.
Okay, Wayne, my guy, you are the man of the hour. Tell us, who do the Houston Texans select at number 3?
With the 3rd pick of the NFL draft, the Houston Texans select Sauce Gardner. This is a no-brainer for Houston because Lovie Smith believes in David Mills, and I believe he's going to run with David Mills. And Houston has the worst secondary in the NFL, 32 ranked. And you're bringing in a corner that's confident, that gave up 0 touchdowns in college. And I believe he's coming in to change the organization on the defense side of the ball, maybe the whole team. Sauce Gardner, red corner.
Hey, Mia, I like Sauce. She's got the coolest name in the draft so far, at least. And get this, hadn't got a touchdown. If I'm correct, if I'm spot on, hadn't got a touchdown scored on him in his collegiate career. When we hear about a cornerback like this, one in which we thought that Derek Stingley was really the guy. Not that he's not, but Sauce might be a tad bit better. How do you feel about him?
Hey, like you said, he's bringing the swag to the team with the name already. And at cornerback, that's somebody you want. You know, you want somebody who's got the swag, but also who can step up and make the big plays, and stop teams from scoring. Obviously, the NFL is a different league in its own. But hey, who knows? He might be just that guy for them in the NFL to kind of, get that defense going in the right direction.
I love it, love it, love it. Sauce Gardner is definitely the guy. And looking at his stats, is a 28 solo tackles, 3 sacks last year, interceptions were 3, and you don't throw a lot of passes this guy's way if you really know what's good for you. Hopefully the Jets know what's good for them. JR is about to come back and give the pick for this team. You know what? Looking at the top 4 picks, Mia, and I definitely said a while ago that the Houston Texans may be in a worse position than the first 2 teams, but the Jets might also even be beating them out for, trashiest team in the NFL right now. They've tried everything that they could do in every draft that they could possibly try. What new could they do this time that would possibly get them in, or at least help them take the next step to get where they need to go?
Again, I feel like this is such a commonality with teams who have these top 4 picks. It's so many areas that you can address within a pick like this. Obviously, they did quarterback last season, and it seems to be working for them. But again, so many other pieces to fill in. So you could go defense here, you could go offense here, you can go, receiver, whatever you need. And honestly, receiver might be the thing for them.
Love it, love it, love it. Well, hopefully JR thinks the same thing that we do as far as them getting a receiver. I think they're another one of the team that can kind of go anywhere across the board with whatever they need. But JR, with the 4th pick in the draft, my friend, who did the Jets select in 2022? JR might not be there, but we'll wait for him until he gets back. Talk a little bit about more about the Jets until JR is ready.
Okay.
Go for it, JR.
I'm here. All right. Oh man, Wayne, you got me with that one with the Sauce pick. You did. You snuck. You got me with the uppercut, Wayne. But with the 4th pick, New York Jets, we will select. I'm gonna go. It's the Steelers. Chris Olave from Ohio State. So right, Mia, they do need a receiver. Zach Wilson is a young quarterback. He needs a young receiver stud. So why not Chris Olave from Ohio State? This guy, he's an explosive receiver, possession catch receiver. I mean, he did great things for Ohio State. So why not go Chris Olave with the number 4 pick?
Well, we won't call it a reach because Chris Olave did really, really well last year. Now, is he the pick over Garrett Wilson? It's the bigger question. Is he the pick over Drake London for USC? Is also a big question. Me, and when you hear Chris Olave being selected in the top 5, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
I like it. I think he's a receiver that can get the job done at this next level. You mentioned, other names like Garrett Wilson and things like that. And honestly, it comes down to which receiver is going to fit your scheme the best. And so, yes, these other receivers are top receivers in this draft, but I don't think that Chris Olave is too much of a reach in that situation for the Jets.
Well, Olave was definitely the guy last year, and Zach Wilson definitely needs him a credible receiver to be able to throw the ball to. And we've seen what Olave can do. He can stretch the field if need be. He's great with run after the catch. He was certainly a dynamic receiver last year for the Buckeyes. Taking it to New York, where Big Blue resides, in the New York Giants. And my guy, Desmond Ewell, is standing by right now to give this pick. But before we get in, we have to talk about the G-Men. NFC East. Okay, let me tell you something. I hope they don't draft well in this draft for the Cowboys' sake. Now
Right.
we could talk about Saquon and how he averages 2.9 yards a carry, and we talk about why they decided to still keep Daniel Jones after he's already proved in the last 3 years that he's kind of incompetent. No, he's gotten a little better, but still, if the Giants want to still be this bad, they can stay this bad for all I care.
Mm-hmm.
But they need to move in the right direction at some point. And where does it start, Mia?
It's going to start, I would say, with your offensive line, honestly, because you have a dynamic running back in Saquon Barkley, but injuries keep being a problem for them, and that keeps stalling out their offense in a sense. And so I wouldn't be upset at the Giants. Well, if I'm a Giants fan, I'll say. I wouldn't be upset at them going offensive line and trying to get Daniel Jones some protection, but also getting some protection for a running back the caliber of Saquon Barkley.
Well, we'll see what they can do as far as caliber players. Dez, my guy, when the Giants come on at number 5, they're going to be on the clock. Who do they select?
Yeah, this is an easy pick. They're taking offensive linemen. Everyone knows they need it. Daniel Jones needs to help. Saquon needs to help. So at number 5, they take the safe bet at O-line, Evan Neal. Going to play that left tackle spot, kind of solidify it for Daniel Jones and Saquon, and hopefully get that offense started, because people forget that they have the most expensive wide receiver room in the NFL with the lowest production from the wide receiver rooms in the NFL. So, it can't all be them. That O-line needs to be shored up. They go Evan Neal right here.
Well, Mia, when you go Evan Neal, you talking about going the Roll Tide way in Alabama. And what better to choose any player that's in the trenches down there and from the Bama squad. Love it. Love Evan Neal. Big guy, can move side to side, moves lateral, moves up and down the field. He's a bull in the trenches. How do you feel about this guy?
I think you just hit the nail on the head. He is a bull in the trenches. And definitely somebody who would be more than just serviceable to this New York Giants offense. Again, trying to get Daniel Jones going and give him time to throw the receivers, keeping him protected. Also trying to give Saquon Barkley the room he needs to be able to get more than just 2.9 yards a carry. So I think, Evan Neal would definitely be a solid pick for the Giants.
Well, we slow rolling, good folks. Love what the Giants are going to do. Hope that they still kind of remain the same in the NFC East. We're going to take a small break, but we'll return on the SOS My Draft. We'll hit the remaining 5 picks, or picks 1 through 10. Our broadcast is still standing by to give you who they feel is going to be the selection come the 28th of this month. This is Spot on Sports. We'll be back in a moment.
Actually, that's spot on.
Spot on.
Everything is spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
Spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
Spot on.
Everything is spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
Spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
Spot on.
Everything is spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
Spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
Spot on.
Everything is spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
Spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
Spot on.
Everything is spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
Spot on.
spot on.
Spot on.
Everything is spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
Spot on.
Mia, we are back on the SOS mock draft for 2022. Looking at those Carolina Panthers. You know what, Mia? I was really rooting for the Panthers last year. I really was. I thought Sam Darnold was going to come and he was going to come in. He was going to shine. He got his old receiver back and Robbie Anderson. He got what's my boy over there playing? Moore, and then Christian McCaffrey, and then he got injured again, so there was that. And then they ended up having a really, really good defense for a good chunk, at least not a majority of the season. And then they just faltered across the way. And was it Matt Rule? Was it the offense, Mia? What do they need to do in this draft to get back on track? Mia's may not be able to hear me. Can you hear me, Mia?
I got you.
Go for it.
So I think it's a combination of, offense and defense as to why they fell apart. When you lose a running back like Christian McCaffrey, of course your offense is going to suffer, especially when he's your workhorse and you have nobody else coming behind him who can manage that same amount of production. And so then I think the defense just kind of got wore down after that. Once they see offense struggling, defense can't help but to go down eventually itself.
Well, I'll tell you who got a much better idea than we do, because this guy's actually a fan of this team. See, last year, I was told that I didn't. Well, let me see. Darian was able to get stuck with the New Orleans Saints in one of his picks. So I said, you know what? Let me get two back to it this time, and let me bless a couple of the guys and gals with their own picks. Dez has the Carolina Panthers this year, so I know no matter what happens, he's gonna make the right choice because he knows his team better than we do. Dez, my guy. Who do the Carolina Panthers select in the 2022 draft?
The Carolina Panthers are going to surprise a lot of people where they expect a QB right here, but we're going to have back-to-back O-line picks after Carolina shored up their O-line in free agency by adding Austin Corbett and this adding the center as well, and Bradley Bozeman. They're going to follow up and draft Ikem Ekwonu from North Carolina State to shore up that left tackle spot. Now, he is a big body at 320 pounds, but he also runs a 4.9 and will be specializing in the power run game, which is Carolina's football team. Is what they do on the offensive side of the ball. So that will help on the passing game as well because they can run better. Shorter passes will probably be stuck with Sam Darnold for another year. It'll all work out, and then the defense can do what the defense did last year, if not get better. So.
Well, we love the pick, Dez, my guy. Like you said, the defense, I think, is definitely going to get better. And then the Panthers, albeit they may be stuck with Sam Darnold, or we heard the little news kind of going out there, Mia, that they might actually get Baker Mayfield, or at least they're doing their homework or have done their homework on the former Browns quarterback. But I do definitely love Ikem. I definitely love what he brings to the interior as far as what the Panthers need to continue a dominant offensive line, at least in the trenches. And I like Chuba Hubbard at running back. I think he can really come in after a really good offseason. He definitely filled in very well, despite Christian McCaffrey not being there. Whether or not Matt Rule makes the offense all about him or a focal point of him, that's going to be the tale that needs to be told. But I definitely like where we're going with Ikem. And Dez, we definitely love that pick. Let's take it to the New York Giants. I believe my guy JR has his pick again with the Giants. He's going to be coming on in just a bit to give this. Talking about them again, and we know the route that they kind of went last time. The Giants need a lot of help, Mia. Especially, we can even look on the defensive side and say, well, they tried to add a couple of pieces with that last year, and that they didn't bowl over too well. But it kind of let them to kind of be a middle of the pack defense, despite them finishing where they sat in the NFC East. Now that we know with the first pick, how do we feel like this one is going to go, Mia?
I think you're leading right into it. I think they go defense here. Obviously, as a Cowboys fan, I wouldn't like that. But I think they do need an edge rusher here, and I can see them going the Kayvon Thibodeau route. Would be the next, big name edge in the draft, and honestly, it would be a solid pick for the Giants.
Well, let's bring my guy JR on right now. JR, who do the Giants select with the 7th pick in the 2022 NFL Draft?
With the 7th pick, the New York Giants, we will take. I'm sorry, Mia, but we got to protect Daniel Jones just a little bit more. And with this pick, we will take Ike Ikwanu. Yes, I said it.
We gotta go back on that
because
he actually already got chose. That's why Dez just chose him with his last pick. So he scooped you again.
Dez getting all the good.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh man. Well, you know what? Hey, we're gonna go defense on this one then. We're gonna go with Devin Lloyd from Utah. Yes, we can go defense. Devin Lloyd from Utah.
Well, the Giants aren't far off from linebacker help because they could also use that too. And Devin Lloyd out of Utah is a really good guy. Now the question is, out of him and Nakobe Dean, who is literally the better linebacker when it comes to being in space? Because we know that's what the Giants are gonna have to defend a lot of. It's space teams this year, given what the Washington Commanders are doing. Dallas Cowboys being an offensive pass or trying to be a pass heavy team, and then obviously the direction the Philadelphia Eagles are going as far as Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith. So do you like Devin Lloyd?
I like Devin Lloyd here. Again, a lot of this comes down with the scheming of things. And so he has to be with the right coaches who are going to put him in the right position to make the right plays. And a lot of that does come from just his natural ability. And I think Lloyd will be okay in this situation.
Well, we definitely know what Lloyd kind of brings. Like I said, and we look at linebackers that are able to kind of play a little bit of the pass, and Lloyd kind of comes in at least somewhere just like Dean, guys that can really just kind of move side to side, lateral if need be. I think he'll be a perfect fit for this defense. Kind of coming into our next pick, we got the ATL Falcons at number 8. Listen, the Falcons are one of the teams that have kind of been in disarray for a while now, Mia. They need a lot of things now. A little bright spot last year. They had the running back that they had, Cordell Patterson. Turned a receiver and a running back, and he really shined for those guys. Now the problem is they just lost their best receiver because he likes to bet on his own team. Unfortunately, that definitely now leaves a hole for the Falcons to have to fill. Do you feel like they'll probably go receiver?
Again, a few things that they could address aside from receiver, though they do need a receiver, would be quarterback. I'm not too confident in how Marcus Mariota comes in and handles that situation. They could also go edge here as well. Again, they do need a wide receiver, and I don't necessarily think that they targeted the tight end as much as they should have, with him being having great hands and his abilities at tight end and things like that, and kind of using him more as a receiver as they possibly could have. But yeah, I could see them going quarterback here, but receiver wouldn't be a bad option either.
Well, Malik Willis is definitely still on the board in case you want to go get a stud like him out of Liberty and put him behind Marcus Mariota. And Mariota could possibly be a bridge quarterback for, possibly a year or two if he does last that long. But I'm definitely thinking quarterback here alongside yourself. Maybe Drake London. He's still sitting there in case you want to jump up there early, in case you don't trust the quarterback, in case you think Mariota is just going to be a bridge anyway, and you can draft a guy later on and just go ahead and get another receiver to fill back up those ranks. But Wayne knows better than we do. Right. Wayne Galloway is coming on right now. Wayne, who do the Atlanta Falcons select in the 8th pick of the 2022 NFL Draft?
The Atlanta Falcons with the 8th pick select Garrett Wilson, wide receiver, Ohio State. This may surprise a lot of people. Mariota is there for a short-term fix. As we all know, they may not keep him long-term. Garrett Wilson is a polished route runner with impressive speed and great hands. He can immediately help Mariota, Kyle Pitts, and Cordell Patterson in that new offensive scheme they're gonna have, and I believe this is the right fit for the Atlanta Falcons.
Well, certainly, me, if you want to add some speed to your ranks, you go get Garrett Wilson out of Ohio State because that man can run. How do you feel about him at this pick?
I love that pick for him. I think he would be a great fit, obviously, like you said, with a quarterback who has some experience, who could possibly bridge the gap for whoever's going to really take over the throne there in Atlanta. But I think this is a wide receiver that they can definitely, add other pieces around, and he can be that guy for Atlanta.
Well, both Ohio State boys are now off of the board. By the way, my guy Jackson Smith and Jigba at Ohio State. I'm ready to see him play this year because I'm a big fan of him. Let's move on to number 9, the Seattle Seahawks. No more in Russ we trust. Only the spirit of the 12th man remains.
Yeah.
And the happy-go-lucky coach that we all know and love, Pete Carroll. But the Seattle Seahawks have a lot of questions to answer in this draft. 1, quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
He's sitting right there. Did you want him? 2, receiver. They need to decide what they're trying to do. There's rumors with DK Metcalf and obviously the state of Tyler Lockett and what they're going to do with that. They can use a tight end in case you want to reach here for one. But then there's also defense. Jordan Davis is still sitting there. And we're nearly done with the top 10 picks. Who do you think Seattle will go with?
I honestly wouldn't be upset at them going offensive line here, maybe an offensive tackle. Now, here's the thing with that. We know when Russell Wilson was there, that was one of his complaints, is them not getting him a good offensive line. Russ was running for his life a lot of times. So it would be funny for them to take that now that Wilson is out of town. But honestly, it's something that they definitely can use and a need that they've been needing to address for a while.
Well, I know my guy Dez, he's always been holding it down for us, been holding it down for me for sure. He's going to hold it down again and tell us who Seattle is going to take with the 9th pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. Dez, who you got for us?
I swear I know more than one position. I swear I know more than one position. But they're going O-line. Charles Cross right here. Got to protect Sunshine. Got to protect Sunshine. Give him a chance to actually make a play. They got rid of the coach who wasn't coaching. So now they got to make sure they protect their QB more than just the coaching aspect. You got to protect them on the field. That Charles Cross, probably the best pass protector in this draft. That's what they're going to need to actually give their QB some time to do what he did at Clemson and what he did in high school and what he probably did in middle school and elementary as well. So that's what we want to see right there. Charles Cross playing that left tackle position. Well,
no disrespect to you, this. I know you are one of the most football savvy men in this entire world, but I want to say that you meant Seattle and not the Jags when you were speaking of Charles Cross. But they need the same offensive line help anyway.
They do.
So
they do.
They the same team if you look at them in the mirror. So don't even sweat that, my man. They the same team. Charles Cross to the Seattle Seahawks. Pete Carroll gives him a guy to put in that interior offensive line. How do you feel about him, Mia? They get some meat up front. Very much needed.
Very much needed. Been needed for a while now. Again, that's something Russell Wilson was screaming about when he was there. And unfortunately, now that, he's out of town, he might not get to experience that in Seattle, you know what I mean? But it's definitely something that they need. Have Drew Lock, I believe, coming in at quarterback for now. And we'll see if he's able to hold that position down. But no matter who comes in there, it's always important to have some sort of protection in play. And so I think this will be a very good pickup for the Seattle Seahawks.
Got it. Definitely love what we're doing with the Seattle Seahawks. Definitely love what we're doing with the job. We got one more pick coming up, guys. We're going to take a small break. But don't worry, we'll be back to announce number 10. This is Spot on Sports, New Wave Sports at the Sweep of the Nation. We'll be back in a moment.
Actually, that's spot on.
It is spot on.
Everything is spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
It is spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
It is spot on.
Everything is spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
It is spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
Spot on.
Everything is spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
Spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
Spot on.
Everything is spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
Spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
Spot on.
Everything is spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
Spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
Spot on.
Everything is spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
Spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
Spot on.
Everything is spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
Spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
Spot on.
Everything is spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
Spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
Spot on.
Everything is spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
Spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
Spot on.
Everything is spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
Spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
Spot on.
Everything is spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
Spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
Spot on.
Everything is spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
Spot on.
One more pick is I was going to take out this top 10 of our SOS 2022 mock draft. Mia, it's been a good one so far. We like a lot of the picks that's been said. Wayne is going to come in just a tad bit to give us the final pick for day one with the New York Jets. I think we got a good idea who it's going to be. The Jets can go up every way. She said that earlier. How do you feel about it, Mia?
Again, yeah, they can go various different ways with this one. They took a wide receiver earlier. And now I think this is maybe the time that you go edge rusher or cornerback. Go ahead and, try to address something on your defensive side of the ball. So Kayvon Thibodeau is still there. Stingley is obviously still there. So they have options on defense. It's just a matter of what can they do on defense.
And a surprising name that hasn't been taken yet. That might be a good suitor for day 2 tomorrow. Kyle Hamilton, the safety.
Yeah.
Is still on the board. So let's see if all of that changes with the 10th pick in the 2022 NFL draft. Wayne Galloway, my man, take it away. Who did the Jets take?
With the 10th pick in the NFL draft, the New York Jets select Garrett Stingley Jr, DB out of LSU. Losing Marcus May was very big for the Jets. He was a very good player, but now you get in the corner that can go toe-to-toe with the fastest wide receivers in the NFL. He has excellent footwork. He can mirror receiver routes. He displays tremendous change of direction and ability. I believe this is the second best corner in the draft, and the Jets should take that chance and get him at the 10th pick.
Me, at one point in time, Derek Stingley might have been the best corner coming out of his class. Now, the stories are kind of circulated that inconsistency kind of popped up a little bit last year, but he changed a lot of that when he went and ran at 4.3 at his pro day, if I'm correct. I love Derek Stingley. I love what he can do. I'm as scared of him at the DB position as I was of Jamar Chase at the offensive position. How do you feel about Derek Stingley to the Jets?
I like Stingley. I think that, the last couple of years, LSU has had a lot of great defensive players to come out. And so they've come out in the NFL and made a name for themselves. And I think Stingley is the next on the list to do the same thing.
Well, definitely rounds out our top 10 picks. Guys, Mike, the floor is open for at least the last couple of minutes before we close this show out. How do we feel about these top 10 picks, folks? Look, a couple of picks got taken, but that's what we wanted. We wanted a little drama in our draft this year, same as last year. Dez, Wayne, JR, you three guys made the picks. How do you guys feel about day 1 of the draft so far?
I like them. These are great picks. These are starters. These are guys that's going to come onto the field and produce. Hopefully, I don't know about the. As you can see, there's not too many quarterbacks has been picked in the first 10 because, hey, how many teams actually need a quarterback right now? So the picks that we have chosen, these guys they're gonna start on the field on day 1.
I think New York needs one, but I feel you though.
Carolina needs one as well. I mean, you could talk about this. There's about 4 5 picks back to back to back. Where if there was actually some legit QB there, they would have been gone. You could have went Giants, Carolina, Atlanta, Giants again. You know what I mean? It's there,
But the Giants, they still have faith in Daniel Jones.
There needs to be no faith in Daniel Jones.
That faith needs to be, you know what I'm saying? At this point, this is hope and a prayer. It's not even faith no more, my dog. This is just, okay, if someone shows you who they are, what do?
You move on,
I think
move on. But
I think it's a pretty good draft.
There's no QBs in this draft that are first round top 10 ready. You look at, like I said, if you take this draft class and put them in the last 4 years, none of them making out the top round. Really, the first round at all. Not even the top 10. The first round. You know what I mean?
You probably wouldn't even draft them in the first 3. Come to think about it, actually.
I mean, I could see guys going in late second, third, somewhere in there. You know what I mean? Because Willis is a project, but you can take a chance on him. Pickett is a guy that's going to be, some team is dumb enough to draft him too high. We know this because they do this every year. But, if we put him in a different draft where we say we had actually 3 legit QBs, I can see Pickett going, late second round to some team that just needs somebody who can do a Jimmy Garoppolo type performance. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but here's the thing. See, our draft doesn't have the trade backs. At least we haven't implemented those yet.
Right.
We know someone has to reach for QB in the draft because all 32 teams, if you give them all a chance, nobody's just going to sit there and just swivel their thumbs and be like, well, we don't think we're going to take a chance on Malik Willis, or we don't think we're going to take a chance on Sam or Kenny Pickett. Somebody's getting chosen early. And I think it would be out of Willis and maybe Kenny Pickett or
Right.
obviously or Sam Howell.
Right.
But if that was to happen, we can see possibly Pittsburgh trading up. I mean, who would they trade with? To get them Malik Willis.
They would have to give up something big because there ain't it's nobody willing to trade. I don't think nobody want to trade up. I mean, nobody want to, trade their picks.
Well, there's been a lot of that, for this type of draft
It is
coming around. But for
then you still got big free agents. You still got some free agents that's left out there that's kind of
coming
big
out
too.
and all the news and stuff.
Yeah, it's still a lot.
It's like it's kind of scary what's going to happen.
Yeah, you got Baker out there, you got Cam out there, you got, we know no one's going to do it, but Cap is out there. And there are options for sure. I think we might see this first round, this first 10 might tell us whether or not where Baker's going to end up, whether or not Cam is going to get a job, whether or not, you know what I mean? So that's really some options
definitely
out here.
Post-draft. We definitely expecting those post-draft moves to be made. But guys, it's been a first great day one show. Thank you to Dez. Thank you, JR. Thank you, Wayne. Thank you, Mia, as well. And for everybody that's watching this video, please, this is a new wave of sports that is super the nation where we're not just accurate, but all of us are spot on. Be sure to comment, rate, subscribe, drop us a like. And thank you for everybody that's tuning into this. Be sure to check out our SOS Top 10 series airing now on our YouTube channel. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Anthony and Darian will be your hosts for day 2. They'll take you through picks 11 through 21. And the rest of our SOS broadcasters, just much like today, will be standing by to get those picks tomorrow. We thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time.
Actually, that's spot on.
Spot on.
Everything is spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
Spot on.